What's good, everyone? It's Timothy here with Inspire with Drones, and I literally just got in. I decided to go on a little hike, right? And little did I know, as soon as I got back, I got the update that in regards to the FCC covered list and the new release that just came out concerning it. And so I'm just gonna get right to it. It's official. Of course, we were given the date of December 23rd, but it looks like they have really went ahead and pushed things forward here. So now, again, I'm gonna not use the word ban because it's not, that's not what's in the language. So you can go read this for yourself. It's right there on the fcc.gov website, and you can see the article for yourself, read it for yourself, print it, download it, whatever. It's basically the updated news from the Federal Communications Commission, and I'm just going to read. I'm not going to go through all that stuff. It actually doesn't even mention DJI, but I'm going to read the specific statements that were made. One in particular by Chairman Carr, who issued the following statement, and I quote here. He says, "I welcome this executive branch national security determination, and I am pleased that the FCC has now added foreign drones and related components which pose an acceptable national security risk to the FCC's covered list." All right, just stop right there. So that means that, say, DJI has now been added. They've been added to the FCC covered list. And then it goes on to say, following President Trump's leadership, the FCC will work closely with U.S. drone makers to unleash American drone dominance. So there you have it. It's done. It does go on to say the FCC's covered list is a list of communications equipment and services that are deemed to pose an unacceptable risk to the national security of the U.S. or the safety and security of U.S. persons. But what I want to get down to is where it asks the question, what does this mean? All right. And so the first bullet point says, and this will answer a lot of your questions. So if you got those questions about what's going to happen to your drone, well, it's answered in this statement right here. So it says new devices under the covered list, such as foreign-made drones, are prohibited from receiving FCC authorization and are therefore prohibited from being imported for use or sale in the U.S. I'm going to stop right there. We focus so much on DJI. I feel like we've failed to realize that it's not just DJI, but DJI is the big player here. You know, they're the ones who make the best equipment, the best drones. But what this does, it targets all foreign-made drones. Any drones that are made not in the U.S., this FCC covered list applies to them. So it's bigger than DJI at this point, but they're the largest market in the industry. So that's why they stand out. And we've focused so much on them, I feel like, including myself, because that's what I fly. But this really targets all the other players out there. It doesn't matter where they are. Any foreign-made drones are prohibited from receiving FCC authorization and therefore are prohibited from being imported or sold in the U.S. All right. But then it goes on to say this update to the covered list does not prohibit, here we go, the import, sale, or use of any existing devices or device models, the FCC previously authorized. I can't read today, y'all, bear with me. This action does not affect any previously purchased drones. Consumers can continue to use any drone they have already lawfully purchased or acquired. Okay? So there you have it. I hope that answers your questions in terms of what does this mean for your drone. And bear with me, my dog is drinking water. So if you hear that noise, that's all her. But so where do we go from here, you guys? Well, I had recorded a whole different video on this while I was on my hike, and I had to kind of scratch it at this point. But in that video, I shared some thoughts, and basically, for me personally, I'm okay. It's frustrating. However, I've done my best. I feel like I did my part. I did the best I could to support, the mission, to do what was asked upon us to do by reaching out to our local representatives to let our voices be heard. Now, ultimately, it didn't change anything. Nothing happened. But I still have peace of mind of knowing I did my part. I tried. And I'm fine with that. Things will, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But I do believe that this is a time where I don't feel that we need to panic, right? We have to be more careful. And I believe we will. We have to be more intentional about how we fly our drone, and responsive in terms of, or not just responsive, but responsible is what I was trying to say. And so what does this mean? I mean, yes, the FCC also, they also passed the other language, being able to revoke previous FCC licenses. Now, will they do that right away? I don't think so. But knowing that they have that card up their sleeves eventually, me personally, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen because I have nothing to back this up. But should there come a point to where there are U.S. drone manufacturers that are entering into the game, into the arena, and we have different products to choose from, if we have different products to choose from, I'm hoping that someone focuses on the consumer line and the pro-consumer line and not just focus all on enterprise and military. I'm hoping. But with that said, right now, you can continue to fly what you have. If you want to, purchase another Mavic 3 or even the Mavic 4, you can do that. The Neo 2, you can still purchase that because that FCC license was initially approved. Even the Avata 360 was approved, though it has not launched yet. It hasn't been released yet. Once that takes place, if there's a way you could get that drone into the US or purchase it, because that FCC authorization has been granted for that model, you can still order that, you can still purchase that, and you can still fly that in the US. It's anything else new that DJI releases. All right. So I'm sorry, y'all. I was really holding out. I was really believing that something would change this around and turn in DJI's favor. But it's okay. I'll live with what I said, and I stand on that. I don't regret anything. Like I said, I have no regrets here. I feel good. I did my part. I did my best. I'm going to continue to do what I do. I was grateful to have an opportunity to instruct and teach seniors of a high school seniors in the city of La Quinta in the low desert Coachella Valley area of California. And that was such a blessing, was such an honor, because I see them as the next generation. They were so inspired with drone technology, and we used a bunch of DJI flips and I broke out my Neo 2 and they loved it. Oh my gosh, they loved it. They really loved it, but they had so many questions. They were so inquisitive. And so I think that's where I'm pivoting, just, wanting to position myself to educate more and really help the next generation, because, we're at a point right now where we are really going to have to take our knowledge, take what we know, and help educate and grow this community in a way to keep it strong, to keep it educated. And I just want to encourage you guys to do the same. Those of you who, you're very skilled, you're very knowledgeable in what you do. And I feel like it's our responsibility to educate others. Proper, safe measures and how to fly professionally and properly, and just all of it. I feel like it is our responsibility. And man, I didn't want to make this too long. I may be ranting right now. I had nothing scripted here. I just wanted to share this. So am I bummed out about it? Yes, I am. But am I prepared to move forward? Yes, you bet. And I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do that. I'm grateful I was able to pick up a few newer models this year just to kind of stay ahead of the latest technology. Not that I'm just the one that have to have the latest and greatest, but understanding the situation, I wanted to be up on the latest technology just to make sure that if something goes wrong with one of my older models, like my Mavic 3, I have something to at least fall back on, so I'm not totally grounded, you know. That's it, you guys. Nothing else special. And I don't know. But let me know your comments. How do you feel? How do you guys feel? Be honest, be transparent, open up. Let the comments be your place to vent. Let it out. All right. I'm Timothy Brazil signing off. Until next time, y'all know what to do. Keep flying, stay safe, be blessed, and I'll see y'all in the next one.